Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the K&K Sports Show as we welcome back our good friend Mike Kunda from the Yo Rocky Film Tour. And this is actually now Mike's second time with Paul and I. Mike, thank you very much for coming back.
Thanks, guys. I'm usually asked once to never return. So I appreciate it. Thank
Oh,
you.
no. Listen, Paul and I know Paul said to me a couple weeks ago, maybe even a couple months ago, and said, hey, hopefully I can reach out to Mike. Hopefully he comes back. So we're fired
Yeah.
up to have you. We have
Nice.
so much to ask you tonight, but hope everything is well. How you making out? I know we spoke to you maybe about a year ago. So in this crazy world, what's going on? How you making out?
Well, things are going okay. It was really difficult, as it was for millions over the last year in 2, 3 months. And so tours have been slowly but progressively coming back. Tourism in Philly has been coming back, which has been great. But I think I'm probably about 50% maybe where I was before COVID. Before COVID, I was doing about 40 tours a month. Now I'm somewhere in the ballpark of 15 to 18 tours a month, but that's fine. I'll take it. I'm quite happy with that.
And
Quite happy with that.
tonight we also have a co-host tonight, Mr. Paul Mulvaney. How are you, Paul?
Doing great, doing great. Glad to be here.
And again, we're looking forward to Mike, asking you some stuff. Again, you were awesome on our first interview. We're probably going to be better tonight. So, Paul, take it away. Explain to everyone tonight what we're going to do and what we're going to ask Mike. And let's go away and let's get the info we want from Mike.
Sure thing. To Mike, it's great to have you back. We'll talk a little bit about what's in the Rocky world of
Sure.
current events, so to speak. It never ceases to amaze me that there's always a Rocky project in the works. And
Yeah.
as luck would have it, in the year 2021, there's actually 3 projects in the work, which
Crazy.
is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to just ask you too about the tour. Kurt was asking you how when you've resumed and everything. Like, what's a normal schedule of tours for? Is it certain days or one? I can't imagine you do more than one a day, right? Or
2 a day, 7 days a week. Forget COVID. Normally, I'll do anywhere from 6 to 13 days in a row. It's not up to me. It's up to when people call or send emails to book a tour. I might have 2 weeks where I don't get any tours. That's just the roll of the cosmic dice. Then there are times where I have to turn tours away. There are times I have 4 or 5 tours in one day. I can only do 2 because each tour is about 3.5 or 4 hours. So that's an 8-hour day. You know what I mean? And some of the neighborhoods, you don't want to go there after dark. So, it's like I always tell people, if Big Bird walked down those streets, they would pluck him so fast he would look like a Thanksgiving turkey. There would be nothing left of Big Bird. So you definitely have to pick and choose the times you're in these neighborhoods. So now, if I was doing like I said earlier, like up to about 40 tours a month, now I'm around 15 maybe, and that's fine. I would say once international travel takes over, that's really going to be a game changer for me because about 80% of my tours are from around the world.
wow,
Most of
I
my,
didn't know that.
yeah, about 80%. I only do about 20% American. I don't know why that is. I mean, all right now for the last 6 months, it's been all, American tourists, which is great. But for some reason, the foreign tourists find this character of Rocky so appealing to them. It becomes this big personal bucket list, and to be part of that, it's great. It's great.
That's
And then
amazing.
yeah, so sometimes I have to schedule time off because like my wife, we're taking an early summer vacation this year. Like I think mid-June, and it's like I've been on a vacation for a year and a half, but she hasn't. She works in the optical industry, so she was deemed essential. So she didn't get any time off, and she is a manager of a optical chain store. So retail is horrible. So she has to deal with a lot. I'm not even a beach guy, but like I hate the sun. I love December to February. That's my favorite
I'm
time of
with you,
year.
Mike. Ask Paul. I'm with you with the tent on the beach, baby. With
Yeah,
the tent.
I am under an umbrella.
That's
That
it.
in a chair. I have a t-shirt on, and I'm reading for 8 hours. Now, I have the fun job. My career is incredibly fun. So I have to go where she wants to go on vacation. And she knows I hate the beach. But I take one for the team. Now at night, it's nice going to the restaurants, whatever, but So that's kind of what my time looks like.
That's funny because when Kurt's my brother-in-law, and when we go to the beach, our whole family does a trip every year. We have to build Kurt like a little Gilligan's Island hut on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, totally. Oh, I'm with you. And I have an irrational fear of wind. Wind is what scares the hell out of me. So I don't have a beach umbrella. I have an umbrella you use on your back porch, like you put in the circle on the table.
On the patio, yep.
Yeah, exactly. I have a patio umbrella because they're much heavier, much stronger. And what I did, I took a 4x6 and I drilled a hole in the middle of it. And I took 2 seat clamps on the top and the bottom, and I put it between it. So it's a like a 4x6, like this. Okay. I dig a giant hole. I have a shovel with me that I bring. I dig a giant hole in the beach. I put the umbrella and the wood in, and then I pile all the sand back in. Then I take 4 like ratchets, that you would tie down on a truck, and I loop it through the umbrella, and then I have 4 bags of sand that I fill up. They're 10-pound bags of sand, and I fill it up. I put the ratchet through, and that umbrella is not going anywhere. Now it takes 40 minutes to get this taken care of. All right, and I'm sweating, and I'm angry at myself that I'm so anal retentive about this, but I have a fear of the wind. When we have windstorms, like I'm downstairs in my Rocky room, when we have a bedroom down here, I sleep in the bedroom down here because I can't deal with the wind. I don't know.
Paul, I'll tell you this. I hope Jen doesn't watch this interview because she's going to know what's coming. We're going to be bringing sandbags down to Lava Land this year.
Oh, yeah.
Sandbags, ties. We're going to be ready to go. I like that, Mike, because that's all me. Ask Paul. That's me. No tent, no beach for me.
Yeah, because I've committed to Sue. My wife's, her name is Sue. I've committed to her. I'm going to be on that beach because I know it's so difficult all year long. And she thinks about this week that we're going to spend at the beach. So as much as I hate it, if I'm under the umbrella, I'm okay. The only thing I have not figured out well is my sunglasses. So I wear contacts, okay? And I'm 53 years old, and when I wear contacts, I can't read. Without them, I can read perfectly, but I wear them for distance. So I put the sunglasses on. The glare is a killer. The problem is the ocean spray. Every 3 minutes, I have to clean the glasses. It's a giant pain in the ass. So, and I read. I am a reader. I read a lot. So I will read for 8 hours while my wife is enjoying the beach. And so I wish it wasn't such a pain in the ass. But as you can see, I'm clearly mentally unhinged at this point.
There you go.
Like one last question on that international thing. What do you attribute? I mean, we know Rocky has an international appeal.
Yeah.
How did they find you? Did you attribute it more to your Instagram, your movie, combination of the two? How did all these guys find you?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And I didn't know the answer until about 5 years ago. And one of the first international tours I had was from Australia. And I said, how did you hear about me? And they said, oh, well, one day we were on Bondi Beach and we were just enjoying the day. And this guy comes up next to us on his blanket, and he's wearing one of your Rocky tour, the Yo Philly Rocky film tour. He's wearing one of my t-shirts because I sell them. And the husband of the people that eventually would take my tour, he looked at it and he goes, oh my God, a Rocky tour. Where's this? And he goes, oh, there's this guy in Philadelphia. And I bought this t-shirt from him. I took his tour. It's amazing. They Googled, I pop right up. And the number one tour in Philadelphia. Well, I was the number one tour for about 7 years, but then they changed the algorithm. So I think I'm number 2 right now. I think a Segway tour beat me, but that's okay. I can't compete with the Segways. Anyways, the reason I attribute to foreign tourists maybe going out of their way more, I think with America, we have the mindset, I might live in Illinois. Philadelphia is just an hour and a half plane ride I can be there anytime I want. But, and then maybe it doesn't come true, right? But with the UK, they're like, we have to plan this out. We have to plan our holiday. We're going to go to Philadelphia. We're going to go to New York. Well, I really want to see this Rocky tour. And of course, I got great reviews, hundreds and hundreds of excellent reviews, 5-star reviews. So I think all those things, along with The Pretender, my book, I think Instagram has been a game changer for me, especially since Sly and I have become, I guess you could say, closer friends. Yeah. I mean, he follows me. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
That's great. And I love the Instagram videos, and I think I notice what you're doing now is they're going to Facebook and Instagram now. So
yeah, and I
seeing them
forget
both.
you know what's funny about that, Paul? There's a little thing when you post a video on Instagram, and I always forget, like, because I'm not a big Facebooker. I keep Facebook because I get maybe 5% of my tours through Facebook, but I do keep it. I'm not a big fan of Facebook, and I really would like to get rid of it. I got rid of TikTok. I hate it, or not TikTok. What's the one with the blue bird? Twitter. I don't have Twitter anymore. It's too ugly of a place to go. And Facebook is kind of that way too. But Instagram is wonderful. It's very wholesome for me. It's very wholesome. So, but it automatically gets posted on Facebook. So I thought, well, okay, we'll just leave it up and whatever.
That's cool. Why don't we kind of segue into what's going on in the Rocky world right now? So,
oh my goodness, yeah.
There's all this stuff going on. And
there is.
I'm going to start with Creed 3.
Okay.
And I kind of know where your mind's at with Creed 3, but I would love to hear you go into it. So
sure.
Creed 3 is slated for a November 2022 release. Sounds like it might still be in the writing phases. Sounds like Michael B. Jordan is going to direct it as well.
Yeah.
This will be his directorial debut.
Yeah.
Seems like most of the cast, with the exception of Stallone, is coming back. How do you feel overall about a third Creed movie?
I didn't think we needed a Creed 1. I didn't feel there was a need for it. I felt it was a mistake to do it. I thought it was silly. I was clearly wrong. Creed was brilliant. Ryan Coogler, honestly, I have a picture right over here from when I was on set with Coogler. I really liked this guy. I thought he had it all going on. I thought he had it really connected. He wrote a beautiful script. Stallone wrote beautiful words for Rocky. So clearly I was proven wrong. Creed 2 was a little all over the place, but there were moments I genuinely loved. I really loved some of the moments in Creed 2. Creed 3, I remember as a kid saying to myself, where are they going to go at Rocky 3? Oh, I don't know. It can't be that good. Comes out, it's great. Okay, 2 years later, where are they going to go at Rocky 4? I don't know. There's nowhere they could go at Rocky 4. Okay, that comes out. That's great. And then Rocky 5, Rocky Balboa. If you have talented writers, I think you will have a fair shot at a decent story. So I don't think MGM is going to put their money into something that's half-assed. I think there will be something of value there. It won't be valuable to me. I'm not a Michael Jordan fan. I think he's a little overrated. That might be a controversial statement, but that's just how I feel. I just don't think he's that great. I think you could get 10 people to play Adonis Creed. There was nothing special about Michael B. Jordan. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's a horrible actor. I don't think he's the end all be all. But then again, I don't identify with him. So good luck.
I have had similar concerns. And I thought the same way you did when Rocky was hitting its third movie.
Right.
And my concern is this. And I was a little skeptical when they announced Creed 1. And I thought it was excellent.
Yeah.
I thought Creed 2 was good.
Yeah.
But it's entering what I would call dangerous territory when you have the villain has to get like bigger and badder and stronger and meaner. And it's like, all right. So in my opinion, for Creed 3 to work, I think they would have to tone that portion down and I know you got to have boxing in it, but
Yeah.
they got to find some other area for the drama to happen. So I don't know if that's going to be like family related or something else. So that's where I think they got to be careful, because Victor Drago was a pretty nasty guy, and like, how are you going to make a bigger guy than that?
I thought that should have been Creed 3, and I thought Creed 2 should be. You're 100% in your assessment, because that's how I feel. I feel they almost have to go back to the beginning like Rocky did. They almost have to. I forget the exact amount of time the boxing was, but I think the boxing is about 12 and a half minutes worth of footage in Rocky. The rest is all character development. So I think I would like to see them go back to with the baby having the hearing problem. I think Tessa Thompson is a fantastic actress. She is one of my favorites. I like her. I don't like the character of Bianca. I think she's a horrible character for a variety of reasons. I think there's no chemistry between her and Michael B. Jordan. And I know a lot of people that will see this will say, Mike, you're like mentally irregular. There's a great chemistry, but I don't feel it. I don't feel the chemistry between them. Anyways, I think you're right. I think they have to go back and look at that. I think they have to acknowledge Rocky in some degree. You know, Stallone said he's not going to be part of it, and Michael B. Jordan said he'd like to move on forward. No, Michael B. Jordan would love to have Stallone in it, but Stallone is standing by his guns, and I respect him for it. So I think they have to acknowledge Rocky in some way. Maybe it's a phone call. We don't ever hear Sly's voice, but maybe Adonis talks to him, or he reads an email from Rocky or something. I don't know, but it's got to be addressed.
I have a quick question, Mike, real quick. And what's your thoughts on again, obviously we all love Rocky. I mean, it's something I watched, being a young kid, and still anytime something comes out, you're like, wow, I can't wait to see it. But and another show that I know I'm a big fan of, Paul's a big fan of, and it goes to our past, is Karate Kid / Cobra Kai. And what they do, and it's a question of, when they want to go, okay, season 2, season 3, and they keep bringing people from the past. What's your thoughts on, and again, you just said, which is interesting, I would love to see why you said you would have thought the Drago thing should have been in Creed 3.
Yeah.
But what's your thoughts of, and again, what else could they possibly do of bringing another character back or somebody back? Like, just say, I'm just going to throw this out there, like a Clubber Lang. Like, what's your thoughts on that? Like, do you like that? Do you not like that? Or,
I dislike that intensely. That gives me a bad anal rash. I hate that.
I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah. Half of me wants to see Clubber Lang back on the screen. Are you kidding me? I want Clubber Lang back as an announcer. He runs into Rocky at the grocery store. I want to see that. But that's with Stallone's Rocky. In my heart, I do not believe Michael B. Jordan has earned the right to bring in more Rocky characters. I think Jordan's been saying several things that he wants Creed to stand on his own. And he should want that, because the more you keep dwelling on the past and bringing back Clubber Lang's nephew to fight Adonis,
right?
This is so asinine and ridiculous. With Creed, I'm sorry, with Drago and Creed, that was right. That actually made me fall back in love with Rocky IV again. And it wasn't because of Adonis. It was because of Drago, Baby Drago, and Rocky. I want a Drago movie. At the least a Netflix miniseries about the Dragos. I am so interested in them. I think for the Creeds to get my respect, which I'm sure Michael B. Jordan is laying in bed. How many of you Mike Kunda's respect on this? Not bring back another character from another movie. So I think they just have to let Creed stand on its own. Let it stay. I'm going to go see it. Of course I'm going to go see it. But let it stand on its own. That's my honest thought.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you start overplaying the coincidence card, it can get a little silly. And that's my other concern with it too. It's like, all right, Adonis is a relative of a character from Rocky. Victor
Yeah.
Drago is a relative of a character from Rocky. Like, okay, it's getting a little. So yeah, to me, like the red light starts flashing, like danger, danger,
Yeah.
Yeah.
overdoing it.
Yeah. Next thing you
So,
know, to be like Mickey Goldmill's daughter shows up, and Gazzo's, third cousin
oh
removed
God.
is, you know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
where,
What's
where
the
do you,
odds?
yeah, what are the
exactly.
odds?
Right.
Right. At some point, you have to draw a line, make it your own. So although I am down on Creed 3, I was more down on the first Creed before I was on set and I was allowed to read the script. And then I was quite blown away. I had several conversations with Stallone. I had one conversation with Michael B. Jordan and one with Ryan Coogler, the director. And I said, yeah, these guys, they got the heart for this. They know what to do. And I was right. I was right in my assumption at that time. And Creed is just a beautiful film.
I think Clubber Lang. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were supposed to give him a role in Rocky Balboa as an announcer, but it just didn't work out. Was that
Fell to
100%
Tyson.
true?
They gave it to Tyson instead.
Uh,
Yeah, I hesitate for sure. I don't know if Mr. T wanted more money or if he wasn't available. I tend to think Mr. T wanted more money because I recently heard Mr. T's daughter on a Chicago sports talk show about 3 months ago. That's when I heard it. I don't know when she was on, but it was fair. It was within the last couple of years. And she said that T was angry with Sly for a very long time, that he never got paid the money he felt he was due, that there was a little bit of a rub there. Now, I think T overall appreciates and likes Stallone, but I think there's a little rub that T felt he should have been given more money. And let's face it, we all feel we should be given more money for what we do in life, but that's not how it works sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sylvester Stallone never even got a paycheck for Rocky Balboa or Rambo 4. He never was paid for that. Not a percentage of the movie, nothing. So
Wow.
talk about a screw job, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, in any of your talks with Sylvester Stallone, did he ever give a more detailed reason of why he wants to bow out of Creed 3?
Next question.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't say anything on that. I will just plead the fifth on that. Yes. Yeah, I know from three people in it that are fairly close to Sly. I will say this. I never had the conversation with Sylvester, and I never did. Well, no, that's not entirely true. We did talk about something on Creed 2. I'll say I feel comfortable saying this. My opinion is that in Creed 2, Michael B. Jordan's, I don't know if it was his ego or if it was his artistic development got a little bit bigger in his own brain. And I don't think Michael B. Jordan was very happy that Sly was getting as much screen time as he was. And from people, not Sylvester Stallone, he never said this to me. Never. From PAs, sound guys, camera guys, people that worked on Creed 2, they told me that there was strife on certain aspects of the movie and filming, and that the director, Stephen Capel, I think his name was, might have been not exactly the best choice for the director. So yeah, but none of that is from Sylvester. None of that. That's just other people that, and I did see certain things with Stephen Capel that I don't know. He wasn't the guy for the job.
But I will, as we close out the Creed 3 discussion, I will say one thing that I agree with you, Mike, is that I think they have to address it. You just can't have Rocky like fall off the face of the earth. But I'm okay with him not being in it for this reason: is that
Yeah.
the character has reached a happy place, and throughout all the Rocky
Right.
movies, you think Rocky's in a good spot right now, and something happened. Oh, Rocky's in a good spot right now, and something happened. Like, let the guy be happy.
What more can you ask from Rocky? In 1985, Rocky Balboa ends the Cold War. He's in Russia. He's got the flag wrapped around him. I love you, kid. I mean, he's brought the Russian people and American people together. He's right up there with David Hasselhoff at the Berlin Wall singing freedom, right? So, I mean, Rocky is this international hero. Then it's like we say goodbye to him. Okay, Rocky's living the good life. A couple years later, he's got brain damage. Well, that sucks. Oh, and he's lost all his money. Okay. Then he wins the street fight. He has the love of his son, and everything's all good. And he goes into the museum, and he becomes a little more educated. Rocky's in a good place right now. Rocky Balboa, Adrian's dead. My God, how much more is this guy going to go through? At the end, he no longer wears the fedora. He has a little different jacket on, and he says goodbye to Adrian, and he fades into the ether. And Rocky will forever walk around the streets of Philadelphia. He'll never die. He'll always be there. Then Creed comes around, and the poor bastard gets cancer. Jesus. Okay, who better to be a poster boy for fighting through cancer than the Italian Stallion? Okay, great. Then at the end of Creed, he's coming back from chemo. He's walking up the steps, and he's okay. He's in a good place. Then in Creed 2, Adonis wants nothing to do with him because
We might have lost Mike.
He's
there he comes.
always got something good.
Yeah.
Did I lost?
I think I lost you for a second, but I think you're back.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I think you're back.
Anyways, Okay. Anyways, I was rambling all about Paul being correct. Give Rocky a break. Enough is enough.
Real quick, Mike, I don't even know if Paul knows this. I'm a diehard Denver Bronco football fan. Okay, and they just drafted in the third round.
Okay, sorry to hear that.
And they just drafted in the third round. I don't know if you guys saw this, but you have to check this out. He's out of a Division III school. Not Phil Simms. He's an offensive lineman named Quinn Miernes. He's from a Division III school, Wisconsin Whitewater. And the thing about him is he actually, and they had this throughout the draft, and they were talking about it all week on radio. He actually trains Rocky IV style, in Russia. No gym. He does it right outside,
right.
put a weight bench, lifting stuff. And they're talking about it. It's the hottest topic because they're saying, where did this guy come from? And is this training technique? And he came from a prospect where he wasn't supposed to be drafted, and he got into the third round. But they're they're fascinated by this and they actually call him. They call him the Rocky Balboa of the NFL because if you watch the YouTube video, you're going to be like, that's Rocky IV. It's crazy.
Wow,
it's crazy.
He's
not the check it out.
He's not the homeless guy that got picked up by the pros, right?
No. He was I said, he's a little Division III prospect. He's an offensive lineman, but they say he's training. He was that's the way he built up. He loves the working out, the lifting, and he started on a farm with this, I guess with his father, and that's how he taught him, and he does it now. And they have the videos of him. He's outside lifting weights, lifting barrels. It's it's
so
one
Kurt,
of the hottest topics.
Kurt, how old is he? Approximately.
I guess he just graduates. So what could he be? 23, maybe 20.
So he wasn't even alive when Rocky IV came out, and here he is, inspired by this humble, broken down, past his prime fighter. What does that say about the character? I mean,
exactly.
In 20 years, do you think people are going to be saying that about Jason Bourne? No. Rocky is a 1 in a billion character that has come around to inspire people on this planet. And I swear to God, when we're talking on this podcast 20 years from now, we're going to say the same thing. Rocky is still going to be around inspiring.
Yeah, and one last thing on Rocky being in his happy place. I know they pitched the thing of Rocky dying in Rocky V, and then they didn't go through with it. And I think we're kind of grateful for that. I don't think you could really even do that on screen because I think it's too big of a moment that like I don't even think a movie would do
Yeah.
that justice. I think I'm just so much more content with him just kind of quietly, even unseen, walking into the
Yeah.
sunset.
Yeah, there are certain things you never want to see in a movie. Like you never want to see a John Wayne sex scene. You know what I mean? You never want to see Steven Seagal having sex with some girl he saves. Right? You just don't ever want to see it. And you don't want to see Rocky die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't. You don't.
So, all right, I'm going to go into the Rocky Four director's cut, which is another project
Oh
that's
yeah.
in the works.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
this, I think I'm most excited about this project, and I was never the biggest Rocky Four fan per se, but I
Right.
think my personal thoughts. I think what got this project going was that I think Creed 2 revitalized a lot of people's interest in Rocky 4 and the concept of all this unseen footage, which we've talked about before, and that's out
Sure.
there. I'm thinking maybe that may have inspired Stallone to do this. I love that he's teased some of these scenes on his Instagram
Yeah.
account.
Right.
Um, this looks like it's coming out in November, although this thing's been delayed a bit too.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that November is when it actually comes out or sooner. But I'm pretty pumped up about this. Mike? What are your thoughts on it?
So, Rocky 4 has always been my least favorite Rocky movie.
I remember you saying that from our first interview.
Yeah, I'm more of a Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Balboa, Rocky. I take Rocky 5 over Rocky 4. It's not that, and Rocky 5 is a flawed movie, but the thing with me is I'm more about Rocky's heart, not so much about the physique. And the thing with Rocky 4, it was very jingoistic. It was very music video. It was all about Sly and Dolph's abdominals and how cut they were and the big hair and the sweat. And it's a great movie. I literally watched it 2 days ago, and I'm probably going to be watching it about 5 more times. I'll explain why in a moment. Rocky 4, I love Rocky 4. I do, but it is my least favorite of all the Rockies. So when Drago and Baby Drago are on the screen, it revitalized because now I see what's down the road for Drago. He was the super soldier that lost, and the Russians didn't handle that well. So he was kicked out of Russia. His wife left him. So there is a lot of pity going on and shame. And that's hard for anyone to take. Forget that it's Ivan Drago. So I think Creed 2 maybe clicks something in Sly's head. And I'm slightly guessing here, but not really. I think the older Sly gets, I think he's really laser focused on that legacy. And for the three of us, our legacy is going to be what our family thinks about us. That's it. And maybe our close friends. I mean, that's it. And for Sly, that's really what matters. But you see, Sly has a component that we don't have. And it's this earth-shattering, world-cracking career as an actor and a writer. He's an icon. And that's something that most of us will never understand. Not really. So I think the older and wiser he looks at Rocky 4. It's his second least favorite Rocky. Rocky 5 is the one he really dislikes the most. And then Rocky 4 right after that. And I think like he mentioned, he wants to make it a more soulful, heartfelt Rocky. And what does that mean? That puts it more in line with 1, 2, and Balboa. So I think his original vision of Rocky 4 was hit when he originally did it. But I think he has the luxury of still being here and being still as powerful or being able to have the will to impose his thoughts on the change. And he had to get the studio to go along with that, which is in no small feat. So I hope people, when Rocky IV, the recut comes out, I hope people really take their hat off to Sly, because to get this done, it's not as simple as making a phone call and taking some footage out and putting it in. Like, Sly worked his ass off for this, and I hope people remember that.
You can tell how into the project he was, and the excitement, the enthusiasm in his voice, just with those videos. And
yeah,
it was, it's kind of funny with I remember the Rocky IV trailer, and there was always a scene in the trailer with like a boxing commission, and it never made the movie. And they finally teased that scene.
Yeah.
I wrote on the thing, like, I waited like 30 years to see that.
Right? That little thing where they strip him of the title, right? They strip Rocky of the title. Yep. And that's what happens in that meeting. And right before that, a lot of people, I don't know if they know that, Paulie takes Rocky's Maserati and he gets in a car accident. He drops Rocky off at the boxing commission, and Paulie goes and gets in a car accident. And he tries to cover the dent. He tries to get Rocky to go in the side of the car where the dent, he can't see the dent.
That's so funny.
Total Paulie.
It's actually in the little black book that Paulie in the car.
Yeah, right.
Filmed it. That's
funny. So I hope they put that in. I hope that's in. I know during it, I may or may not have mentioned this. I don't know if it happened yet. There's a publicity still of the scene in Rocky IV where Rocky is speaking with his son in bed, and he's saying goodbye before he goes to Russia. And this particular picture, it's a deleted scene, never made the original theatrical cut. And I have it, and I posted it on Instagram several months back, and Sly saw it, and I said, Sly, Rocky lives in Philadelphia. Why is there a Pittsburgh Steelers pendant on the wall in Rocky Jr.'s bedroom?
I remember this.
And he goes, oh, he goes, it was from a uneducated, no, that wasn't the word he used. He used another word. It was from a production assistant who didn't know what he was doing. He said, it will be corrected for the movie, for the re-edit. And I thought, oh my God. So now I'm going to look specifically to see if they digitally enhance it and they just put a Philadelphia Flyers, Phillies, Eagles banner up. That's funny. Very funny stuff, which is interesting. The other day, I'm going to brag a little bit here because I rarely get a chance in my life.
Hey, you're allowed. Come on, Mike.
So I put up this funny, I had never seen 8 Mile, Eminem's 8 Mile, his movie, basically based on his story. So I bought it for my wife about a year ago for Christmas. And she said the other day, Sunday, she goes, why don't we watch 8 Mile? Saturday night it was. She goes, why don't we watch 8 Mile? So we made potato chips. We had like some wine, and we come down here on the big screen and we're watching 8 Mile. And it really is a Rocky movie. It's a different version of a Rocky movie, a little more urban, but it's still. So, and I loved it. I thought it was great. And Lose Yourself is the only rap song that I find particularly profound in my life. I mean, it's everything that's a whole other conversation. Anyways, I thought, okay, let me do a little fun rap for the Rocky tour. So I did this whole little fun rap. It's maybe 3 or 4 posts back on my Instagram. And Sly saw it and he loved it. And he writes me, he goes, your dedication is through the roof. I'm always impressed. We finally made a decision. We're going to premiere the Rocky versus Drago recut in Philadelphia, and you are going to come as my personal guest. So, and I'm like, my heart started beating so fast. It was horrible. I had to take 2 shots of Jack Daniels to calm down. I run upstairs. That's the truth. My wife will tell you, I had to take 2 shots to calm down. I tell her, I said, oh my God, you're not going to believe this. Now, what makes this so weird is you cannot be this way around Sly. Believe me, you'll be removed. You cannot act like the Beatles are landing at Shea Stadium in '63. You have to be like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, all right, man, whatever. Because, Sly has had these people falling at his feet over the years, and it's embarrassing and humiliating, and he hates it. So what I'm getting to is that I have that happen to me. So hopefully, it'll all work out, and I'm sure it will. But you have to be calm about it. It has to be just another, ah, okay. But no, that's crazy that, I've dedicated my life to this character since I've been 11 years old, and I'm 53 now. And it pays off. I mean, I'm friends with the guy that inspired me to do what I'm doing, and it's a huge win for a guy like me. I've had very few wins in my life, but the one win I had, it's kind of nice.
That's a fantastic story.
Great story.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is, and I echo those sentiments. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, it really is. And
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if you had seen it already, so I guess you haven't.
No, no, no. I mean, I don't even know if I think maybe a handful of people, 3, 4, 5 people have seen it, 6 people maybe. That's it. And so I don't know when it's going to be. My gut tells me November, just because the Rockies come out in November, with the exception of Rocky 3. So that would be cool, but maybe not. Maybe it'll be in the summer. I don't know. I tend to think it'll be later in the year. I think Sly wants to have a big thing, a big premiere in Philadelphia. And I think he wants to make sure COVID is at a minimum so it can be enjoyed,
He probably hates me because I think I left him 3 Instagram messages about when the release date would be.
No, you know what? I forgot to tell you. He wanted me to tell you. He specifically saw it and wanted me to tell you. No, I'm kidding. He did not. I'm just kidding.
You had him for a second, Mike. You had Paul.
No, I
there.
just.
Paul was deleting his Instagram account. He was,
Yeah. It's like that Joe Pesci scene from Goodfellas. I got you, you stuttering pig. I got you.
You're a funny guy.
The funny guy. Ah! I love Henry Hill's laugh. Ray Liotta's laugh. His mouth gets big. His head. Oh, great scene. I got to go back and watch Goodfellas. I haven't seen that in a little while.
Mike, I want to ask you a question. I want to go off topic for 1 second because I just thought of a great question, and I didn't ask you this. And Paul said if there's any questions, and I just thought of one because you mentioned about you were talking about 8 Mile and Lose Yourself in a soundtrack. But what are your 3 favorite songs from any of the Rocky soundtracks?
Going the Distance, Fanfare for Rocky, and probably Philadelphia Morning.
Okay.
Those are the top 3. Gonna Fly Now depends on my emotional state. But Going the Distance, when you hear those bells ringing to start the montage, right? Mm-hmm. Jesus, that shakes me to my core. Go back and listen to Fanfare for Rocky, which is the opening of Rocky when we see the white letters come across the screen. We only hear maybe 17 seconds of that or 14 seconds. We don't hear a lot. And then we hear it again as the microphone is coming down into the ring for the championship fight, but we only hear a little bit. For anyone who's unsure of what song I'm talking about, Google or go to iTunes or Google or YouTube, whatever, Fanfare for Rocky, Bill Conti. It is a song that will make you bench a Buick. I mean, it's incredible.
It's phenomenal.
And Philadelphia Morning. Yo, it is. Thanks, Paul. It is. And Philadelphia Morning. I love Philadelphia Morning because I'm one of these guys. I'm in my own head 95% of the time. Unless I'm with my wife. So, but with the exception of that, whenever I'm with myself, I'm always in my own head. And Philadelphia Morning is such a reflective, melancholy song. It's the song, if anyone doesn't know what it is, who's listening, when Rocky drinks the raw eggs and then he closes the freezer door, shakes his neck a little bit, and then we see him opening the door to stretch out in that ugly, smelly gray sweatsuit. That's Philadelphia Morning. It almost has no hope in it. There's almost like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm out of shape. I'm going to fight the champ in 5 weeks. What am I doing? This is so ridiculous. But I gave my word. I'm going to try it. And it begins a process for me every single day. Now, that's Philadelphia Morning because it's a departure from Going the Distance and Fanfare for Rocky. Now, Going the Distance. Sometimes Going the Distance will edge out Gonna Fly Now will edge out Going the Distance. But those are my top 3, top 4.
Those are great select. When I bought the
Eye of the Tiger, Eye of the Tiger brings up the rear quite closely.
When I bought the Rocky 1 soundtrack and listened to the fanfare, I had no idea that it went on that long. I felt like I discovered like gold. I'm like, this is like the greatest song. It was just.
Do you know the origins of? Do you know the origins of the Rocky music?
No.
So the origins of the Rocky music, Bill Conti is to music what Rocky. He is a student of music. So he heard a song. It's in the name of it is in Italian, and I will happily send you the link to YouTube for it. It is a song that was played 400 years ago when kings and queens would enter castles in Europe. And the first 17 seconds, I think, 14 seconds, are exactly as Fanfare for Rocky. When we see the white letters, those 2 songs are identical. About 17, 18 seconds in, they change. It's radically different. And then it comes together again at the end. It sounds very much like Rocky music. Bill Conti was inspired by this opera, this Italian opera song. And that's where he drew inspiration from it. Now, he wrote a song in 1972 for an Italian singer that used the Rocky themes. So the Rocky themes are not original to Rocky, and a lot of people don't know that.
Wow, I didn't know
doesn't
that.
Change. It doesn't change anything for me. They're still monumental. They are still the Rocky themes. But it was what Bill Conti was originally inspired with several years before Rocky. And he said, wait a minute, I like this music. Sly and John Avildsen, the director of Rocky, are telling me they want to have this classical, because Bill Conti set it originally to classical music, but they wanted it a little different. And at one point, I don't know if I told you guys this last time, Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix.
It was on your Instagram.
That was
like 3 days ago.
Oh yeah. That's right. I just put it up there. That for people who don't know, Purple Haze was going to be the montage song during the fight with Apollo Creed in Rocky, not Going the Distance.
I know, that's crazy.
And
it's mind-blowing.
And Sly fought that. Yeah, Sly fought that. He said, no way. That I need this. We cannot have pop culture songs at this moment. And Sly was right, because in Rocky 5, he goes with MC Hammer and a few other people. And although I love MC Hammer, I mean, he was a focal point in the 90s for me. So in late 80s, I think they make the right decision by using this opera style music, because when you watch Rocky, yes, it's 1976, but the music doesn't betray that. Or maybe I mean that the other way. The music betrays it, I think. It's not pigeonholed because of the music. When you see the cars or the clothes, okay, maybe you know it's a 70s movie, but you don't know it because of the music. You see, the music can be played in any decade, and you couldn't pigeonhole the decade. Now, the Rocky, but this is at the time. I don't know. I'm rambling. Anyways, let's go to the next topic.
Wait, my last question, Mike. I'm sorry, guys, that I brought this up about music, but I need one thing, because my ringtone, Mike, is terrible. It's a default ringtone. So I need right now, I'm putting you on the spot, 20 or 30 seconds of a ringtone where people are going to be like, that's a damn cool ringtone, instead of people like, what is that? You know, I hear that from my wife all the time. That ringtone, like, change it. So give me something from Rocky. I need 20 seconds. What can I put where people are going to be like, that's a damn cool ringtone?
What can you take? I don't know. I mean,
the opening of Fanfare for Rocky? I mean, should I just open it up with 20 seconds of that?
So think about that for a moment. You're in a restaurant. It's just after everyone's open. May 31st, everybody's opening up in the restaurants. You're sitting there with your wife, and all of a sudden, Paul calls you. Bum, 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 and now you're in this, and everyone's looking at you because you forgot to turn off your versus a little chirp from a bird. So just remember,
right?
If you're going something huge, you know what I mean? Like One of my ringtones is Rockin' Robin. I don't know if you guys are fans of The Office, but there was a scene when Andy Bernard, Ed Helms' character, he has Rockin' Robin. Okay, and Jim throws the phone up in the drop ceiling. I have that Rockin' Robin that I took it off the screen, and that's my ringtone. Sometimes I put the Rocky music on.
There you go.
I think, Kurt, you should get sound bites from the movies, like Mickey going, "Well, I'll train you."
Yeah.
Right? You can do that.
I could do that. I could absolutely do that. Yes.
Are you kidding me? Have like drops. You can do a whole thing where you do 30 seconds of like 10 drops, your favorite drops throughout the movie.
Oh, Mike, I could do it for individual person. Like Paul would be, Mickey. Jen would be Rocky. So and so. I could do it like that per person. Great
There's
idea.
So much you could do. Put it together, and all of a sudden, you're in a restaurant and it goes, "This place stinks." That says, "Oh, place stinks." Hey, okay, it sound like a goyle out there, Rock. There's a million things you could. You're gonna eat lightning and crap under. There's a million things you could do. It's so much fun.
That's it.
Oh, one last question on the Rocky IV recut. I don't know. Is this going to be a theater release or a theater slash down? Can we download it at home too, or is it theater only at first?
No. MGM, they understand. They're going to do everything they can to make money off of this. That's what MGM is all about, money. So you're going to get DVDs. You're going to get a reissued Rocky Balboa set at a movie release. Yeah, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be everywhere.
That's cool. And the other thing I like is that Drago seems like he might talk a little more in this, and I like that too.
Yeah, but there's a reason why Drago doesn't talk a lot, because some of those cuts with Dolph Lundgren, Dolph wasn't like. You're never gonna see Dolph Lundgren doing Laurence Olivier, in the park with on stage. I don't think Dolph is that type of an actor. But he was great as Drago, and I don't mean to tease Dolph a little bit, but I don't know that Dolph is going to have a lot more verbal lines. He might have different lines. I think Dolph Lundgren's very gifted with his look. Like when Creed and Rocky. They're at the the conference that they're gonna have the fight. Yeah, I've been more men than Social Security, and so that whole scene in Rocky IV, and then we see Drago. He's taking it all in stride, but he's pissed, and he rips down the poster of Apollo, and he just stares at him. I think that's a great scene, and Dolph just delivers that. And I know it sounds easy, but you know what? You wear the outfit and try to do it. It's. Yeah. I don't think it's that easy. These guys make it look easy.
The stare after the Apollo fight, and Rocky looks up at Drago all pissed off, and that glare that Drago gives back, that's priceless.
Very much so. I think Dolph Lundgren. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Dolph Lundgren pulls that off perfectly. I don't think anybody else could have done that like he did it. So.
Okay. We're going to move on to the next topic. So there was another Instagram post by Sylvester Stallone with a very sketchy, fleshed out, not even fleshed out, ideas that were all kind of mangled on a piece of paper for this Rocky prequel idea that I guess we could still say it's in the infancy stages.
Yeah.
This just can go in a ton of different directions. I don't know if he's looking to do, sounds like he's looking to do like something like a la Netflix with this, like a 10 episode thing.
Right.
Rocky Prequel, it sounds pretty cool. I guess a lot of it might depend on, getting the right people to play these characters because they're so iconic. But what are your thoughts on this, and do you know anything else about it?
No, I don't know anything else about it, but I have a lot of thoughts on it, and I just leave you with a few. So I am an Origins guy. I love origin stories. And when I hear about an origin story, right away I'm gone to the Marvel universe and what they've done with the origins. I think it's been spectacular. I'm a DC guy. I'm a Superman, Batman guy, but DC, Warner Brothers, they don't know what they're doing with it. So getting back to origins, the thing I love on my tours, before I get into Rocky mode, I talk to people for about 15 minutes as we're driving to our first location, and I get to know them. How do they come to be in my back seat? And I'm not talking about travel wise, I'm talking about what made them like Rocky. So I asked them a lot of prodding questions about their life, how they got here. I love hearing people's stories. Some are a little more interesting than others, sure, but everybody's got at least one great story in them. So bringing it back to Rocky, one, as far as the actors go, I think they have to go with a complete unknown cast, not one named actor, none. Because you said it perfectly, Paul. Burgess Meredith, Burt Young, Talia Shire, Stallone, and Carl Weathers, it is too ingrained in our DNA you're never going to see, you can't do a Sylvester Stallone young Rocky. You can't. You got to get some young guy who's nobody has ever seen before, not on the Disney Channel, some hungry actor somewhere. And he doesn't have to have a tremendous Sylvester Stallone resemblance. He's got to have the hair. He should have an Italian nose, and he should be able to do something with his mouth. He should be able to do something like that. Beyond that, that's all he needs. I think people would be more likely to say, okay, they're not even trying to look exactly like the people. We're just going with the essence of this character. It's 1965. Let's see what they got. Now, I feel a lot of things like I knew originally. I don't know if I told you guys this last time. Gazzo was Rocky's stepbrother. And a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. What? You had mentioned that they were, I think we had said, or you had told us that they were brothers, or you changed it at the last minute. But I read that Instagram post, and it looked like he was reintroducing Gazzo as a step brother.
Correct. And a lot of the backstory here is that Rocky's mother married Gazzo's dad, and Tony Gazzo, Mr. Gazzo, he was Rocky's older brother, and they got along. Even though they're stepbrothers, they got along very well. And I think he felt a certain love or a connection for Rocky. That's why in Rocky, the producer said, no, we don't want Rocky to have any brothers, nothing. So Stallone had to tweak the character of Gazzo, and I think, when you look at who Gazzo, why did he give Rocky $50 to go on a date with Adrian? That's the equivalent of $250 today to go on a date. Rocky didn't need that much money to go on a date with Adrian, right? So then he gives Rocky $500 for training expenses. Well, 5 times that, right? What was it, $2,500? And he didn't have to pay it back. He didn't owe Gazzo that money. Gazzo's a businessman. He's a loan shark. Why would Gazzo be so giving to Rocky, who sucks as a collector for him? Because that whole brother relationship was there, stepbrother relationship. So he's going to revisit that. But also, he's going to revisit a lot of the things, I think, that we learned about, like in Rocky 3. Who was responsible? Me, Paulie, Irish woman. She was pregnant. So what? You was no prize neither. I give you. So maybe we see Rocky going on a date with a pregnant girl. You know what I mean? Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? So there's a lot in that. There really is a lot in that. And I think, however, they're going to do that with Mickey. They could go 10 different ways with Mickey. They can go 10 different ways with this.
Yeah, I mean,
but
you had mentioned that a friend of yours had written a book about Mickey Goldmill.
Carl. Yeah.
Life.
Yeah, my friend Carl wrote a screenplay called Angel on My Shoulder. And I think he recently retitled it to Mighty Mix, where he gives one of the, as good as the original Creed is, I really take my hat off to Creed, the first one. As good as that is, this screenplay is 10 times better than that. The origins of Mickey is so goddamn good. Carl just told me that Sly has the script, or he's getting the script, and he's very excited about reading it. So I don't, where is it going to go? I don't know. It may go nowhere, it may go somewhere. I hope it does. A Mickey Goldmill Origins movie. That's something I want to see.
I mean, it almost
Exciting.
seems it would be so fitting if he could incorporate that into this upcoming Rocky thing. They would just go so well together. And I think what gets me excited about this project is that there's so many backstories you could just latch onto. You got all the main characters. You got guys like Spider Rico or Dipper, and I mean, you could just see them in a background story somehow, or just passing by. I mean, I don't know.
Father Carmine plays a major role in this Angel on My Shoulder script. Father Carmine's amazing in this, and Gazzo's father. You know, when we see Rocky and Mickey in the gym, and Rocky's like, "Oh, for 6 years I've been coming here. For 6 years you've been sticking to me. I want to know how come. You don't want to know. I want to know now. You want to know? I want to know now." Mickey is so angry at Gazzo for a cheap second-rate loan shark. Why was Mickey so angry with Gazzo? My friend Carl has this beautiful take on it. And it's not canon, it's just his take. And I think it's so significant. There is a very bad set of circumstances that happens between Gazzo's father and Mickey. And Mickey hates him for it. And then, of course, he transfers that to Gazzo's son. So I hope it gets made, guys, because this is a script that I promise you, you wouldn't take your eyes off the screen. You wouldn't do it.
It is. It just sounds great. And it makes me think back to those. I was talking about those little black novels that they did for each one of them.
Yeah.
I think they did them for 1 through 4. But one of them, I don't know which one, had a flashback scene in the book of Rocky going into Mickey's gym to sign up for the first time. And it says like Mickey's sitting back in the chair and he's got a cigar in his mouth. He's like, "What's your name, kid?" You know, it's like Robert, but people call me Rocky. Like, like Marciano.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's Rocky 3. I think he's remembering the conversation that he had with Mickey, and I think that's something like we in the Mickey script we don't see Sylvester Stallone Rocky. We see like a 14-year-old Rocky fighting in the streets, and Mickey comes down and gives him some advice. But that's why I love this origin story, because it's completely devoid of Rocky, Sylvester Stallone Rocky. It's a young child Rocky. Okay, now you see this is standing on its own 2 feet. We're talking about Rocky, and now in this prequel, he's already going to be friends with Paulie and Adrian, so he will have known Adrian for quite some time. But he took him 15 years to make a move on Adrian, because that's the kind of guy Rocky is. He's just like
And I think what could also be really interesting with the prequel idea, it'll kind of go against the grain of the movies. Rocky had 20 losses in Rocky 1. They had like a 44-20 record, something along those lines. So like if they're going to show him fighting, Rocky losing, or I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something that's interesting, because he didn't dominate in his early career. So that's another kind of interesting twist. I don't know how they're going to play that up or not.
Paul, think about this. Well, most people know that everybody knows Rocky. I think the image comes to mind of a winner, of a champion, but not to me. I mean, it does, but not in the way that you think. So imagine the young kids of today and tomorrow watching a young Rocky fail repeatedly in fights, because kids today, there's a little bit of entitlement that goes on, and there's a little bit of, I don't know if there's necessarily as much hard work that went into it in our generation, but I think it could be a very interesting tool for kids today to look and say, oh, wait a minute, Rocky didn't come out of his mother a champion. He had to work to get there. Oh, that's what we have to do. Okay, it's just not handed to us. You take a lot of losses in life, myself included.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah, very good point. And another thing too is like there, even with, it feels like even each major character could have such a big backstory to them. And what was funny, I don't know if you ever, I'm not a big video game guy, but there's a video game from like 20 years ago called Rocky Legends. And
that's great.
Did you ever hear of it? Okay, I'm sure you did.
Oh, I haven't. It's right there. I have an Xbox, an original Xbox that's right there. I have 3 games. I have 2 games, which is the 2 Rocky games. There were 2 of them that came out back then. And I have a Nintendo 64 with the James Bond 007 game that was brilliant back like 20 some years ago. But yeah, you're right. Those games had a huge history. And I wonder if they are canon. I wonder if Sly considers them canon.
That's what's interesting, because Rocky Legends gives you a backstory for Rocky, Apollo, Clubber, and Drago, and each one of them Rocky starts out streets of Philadelphia.
Right.
Clubber starts out in Chicago and in a prison. Drago with his army backstory.
The army backstory.
And Apollo, which was, I want to save him for last. When you do the Apollo career mode, the first person he fights is Duke. But Duke is on his last legs, and so you kind of beat him easily. And at the end of the fight, Duke walks over. He's like, "I'm getting too old for this crap." And then Apollo was all like, "Hey, Tony, if you wanna get your next career, you come with me, because I'm going places."
Right. Exactly. I love it. I've been playing because you can have like Mickey. You could choose who you want to fight who in one of the levels, and you could have the Rocky statue fighting Mickey in the ring. And the ring is set at the top of the Rocky steps, right? So it's the greatest thing in the world. And imagine what brass would sound like when it's punching. And that's what it sounds like. And poor Mickey's getting killed. And Mickey, who's ever voicing Mickey's like, "Is that the best you got, kid?" And he hits the statue, and the statue, it's brass. There's nothing, you can't do anything against it. It's crazy.
And you know what would be great? I know I'm kind of shifting a little bit, but with the Rocky prequel, I love when they name drop these oddball guys, like Sailor Mike. But I want to hear about when Rocky's ice skating with Adrian and he's showing his broken fingers and stuff. He pulls out photos. He mentions the Baby Crenshaw fight, which I guess he lost.
Big Baby Crenshaw. Yeah.
They should show the Baby Crenshaw fight in this prequel.
Definitely. They should, because it figures prominently. Big Baby's got the head the size of an airplane. He goes, "But that's okay. I did okay. I lost that fight." I love that scene. It's a great scene. Well, that's the thing. And so that's just, again, Sylvester's mind never stops working. And I believe he feels there are only a few bullets left in the gun. So he's working on it, and he'll spend 6-7 hours a day working on these projects. And I hope it comes to fruition. I do, because it's good for business. Even if they don't film it in Philly, they probably will. But even if they didn't film it in Philly, it doesn't matter. They still have to computer generate or whatever to
make it look like it is.
Exactly. Right? Mickey's Gym is Mickey's Gym. That's it. It's in Philly. They can't say Mickey's Gym was in Poughkeepsie and then it's in Philly and that's it. So that's good for me, for business.
Absolutely.
And I'd love to see the director's cut be successful, that it opens the door up for other ones. Just to see some of that footage that we haven't been able to see. I mean, I mean, it's a long shot maybe, but I just think the more that
Well,
unclean stuff he can
he
throw at
told,
us, I'll take it.
yeah. Well, Paul, he told me I posted last summer. I posted 5 uh clips. I have the work print of Rocky 5. The work print has never been seen by most people. It's very difficult to come by. Sly doesn't have this. He hasn't seen these scenes since 1990. So I posted it on Instagram, and right away he's messaging me. He goes, "Oh my God, where did you get this? I haven't seen this since 1990." And he's telling me there were too many cooks in the kitchen, and he wishes he had imposed his will a little bit more to make it better. There was a scene where the original actress, Jodie Letizia, who played Little Marie, she is back as an alcoholic, hulling around a burning barrel of garbage. And Rocky comes out of the gym, and there's a whole scene between the two of them, and they just shoehorn in "Screw you, creepo" again. And it was horrible. It was horrible. A good concept, but it wasn't executed well. And Sly said if there's one movie that he's ever done that deserves a recut, it's Rocky 5. He said, I don't think it'll ever happen, but he goes, I wish it would. He goes, I'd like a shot at that. So who knows? Who knows?
And that was right where I was going, because if this Rocky 4 recut works out well, why not take a stab at Rocky 5, which is the one most people usually point to as usually at the bottom of their list.
Yeah. Oh, sure. And I understand that. I do. Not for me personally, but I don't fault people for feeling that way. I think the work print, there are so many great scenes in that were better than what was the theatrical release. I don't know exactly what happened. I have to imagine the studio screwed it up somehow. But what's on the work print is far superior, in my opinion, than what we got. But that's just me.
So I think those we got through all the topics really. Kurt, did you have any other questions before we let Mike go?
No, the only thing is I just wanted Mike's opinion on. I said to Paul today when I talked to him, I said, I think I'm going to go with a green screen. And I said, what do you think I should do? A Rocky, just of Mike? He goes, try to get a scene of both of them. So I was like, when I put this on, I was like, it looks pretty. I mean, I don't know if it's like I'm in between you guys and you're going to go at it. You guys are like, you're saying Stallone's yelling at me. He's saying, what are you doing? The guy's cameraman behind me. So what'd you think of the background tonight, Mike?
So I love this background. What happened? What follows right after this is baby oil and mud wrestling between me and Stallone at a local strip club. So no. Now here's what happened. I do a lot of charity work for Philadelphia, and I've worked with the mayor down there on several different things, and I never charged them for anything. I just did it to help out. He became a friend of mine, and he calls me up about 3 days before this picture takes place. And he goes, Mike, Sly's back in town for filming Creed 2. We'd like you to come down to the statue. We're going to have a lot of press there. We're expecting thousands of people. And we just want you to, I don't know, if you get the opportunity, if it works out, we don't know how Sly's going to go, but if it works out well, we want you guys mixing it up. And I go, yeah, totally. He knew Sly and I had been building a relationship at this point. So I go down, and Sly gets out of the car, and he's so awesome. He works a crowd like nobody's business. He's shaking hands, and I just yell, yo, Sly. He's looking around, Sly, and he turns around, he sees me. He makes a beeline right for me. He goes, oh my God, Mike, you've converted. You're not in there anymore. And he grabs the lapel, the collar of the leather jacket I'm wearing. Now, I have this leather jacket made in China. I had a handmade specifically for my measurements because you can't find this jacket. This is an old jacket from the 70s. This was Stallone's winter jacket that he wore for Rocky. A lot of people don't know this. There was no money in the budget for a clothing allowance. So Sylvester Stallone wore all his own personal clothing during Rocky, this jacket being one of them. So I found a guy who would make it. Nobody could make it correctly in America. So I had it tailored to the exact specifics. So Sly's grabbing it. He's looking at it. And one of the interesting things is right here. You can't see it in this picture, but on the lapel, there's this flap that's sewn across the upper chest. Very, very rare. You don't see that very often on leather jackets. And he goes, oh my God. He goes, this is a duplicate. He goes, I need my jacket back. I said, why did you sell it at a heritage auction in 15? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, ah. And I said, so now in this very picture that you have up, I hit the back of his right arm, and I'm saying to him, as Rocky, Mr. Gazzo says I should get the 200 or break your thumbs. Stallone roars his head back and he goes, no, you didn't. I go, yeah, I did, Sly. He goes, this is amazing. So then we started yucking it up. We started taking some pictures and we talked a little bit, and then he got called off to do something else. Then about 15 minutes go by and the mayor comes over to me and he goes, Mike, come over here. I think this can work. And there's a series of about 30 or 40 pictures of me and Stallone boxing each other in front of the Rocky statue. And what he did in this one picture, it's a horrible picture of me, great picture of Sly. He's got his arm around me and he's punching me in the face. And my face looks like that. I look like I'm 100 pounds overweight. And he posts it on his Instagram and he writes, today I met Rocky at the Rocky statue, a.k.a. Mike Kunda, who runs the Yo Philly Rocky Film Tour, which is excellent. If you're in Philly, take his tour. Keep punching. And I thought, oh, my God, he just endorsed my friggin' tour. I didn't ask him to do that. He just did it.
That's amazing.
And there was about 2,700 people were around us. I got to send you the picture with the little broader picture, and it's amazing. And these stars, I really have an appreciation for them, because when they're on the red carpet somewhere and everyone's taking, look here, Brad Pitt, Angelina, look over here, and the shutters of the cameras, it sounds like an angry attack of hornets. That's when they're all going off. And the thousands of clicks are all going off. And there's like 40 people in front of us. And I didn't know where to look, really. But it's like he had his arm around me. He goes, over here. Okay, no, okay, Mike, check out these guys. Okay, we're going to go right here. I'm like, Jesus, how do you do this? And he goes, you get used to it. I go, okay. Anyways, that's that picture.
No, it's awesome. And my last thing, Paul, for Mike is, and I know I said it last time, and we definitely, I know Paul would probably love to do it. Jen, we talked about it, but again, I mentioned last time my nephews, they're in third and fourth grade, and especially the younger one. Both of them were big Rocky fans, but even the younger one. And for his birthday in August last year, his godmother was going to actually, before we even talked to you about it, her plan was to take him to the tour, but they didn't want to do it with everything going on and stuff like that. So I know that's in the plans, and hopefully, Jen and I, Paul, we definitely, I would jump on board, a bunch of us do it, but I know he's looking forward to get into that tour. They're huge Rocky fans. And that age, like I said, third and fourth grade.
First of all,
the tour so bad.
First of all, I think it's amazing, right? At third, fourth grade, that they get this character. Mm-hmm. And I promise you guys, I will make it a tour you will not forget. I promise you it will be something very, very special. Let me know. Hey, yo, Mike, you want to take the tour? Open up your window and yell out. I'll hear you.
That's it.
Mike, can I before you go, first I wanted to show you something, because I don't know if you probably have it. I know this is a newer Rocky toy, but have you seen the Apollo figure of that?
I have seen that. I have the Rocky one of that. I don't have the Apollo one. Is it good? Do you like it?
Yeah, I like it. It's good. I got it to put with the. I have the Rocky one too.
Good.
My other stuff, but these things are great, because this is a toy company that actually existed when we were kids. They made the superhero figures, and now they've got the second life, and they're making all these other types of action figures.
Isn't that amazing? Characters they could make. Rocky and Apollo. That's one of them. That's amazing to me.
The last thing I wanted to ask you, you just kind of piqued my curiosity when you were talking about Rocky's jacket. Yeah. So apparently he sold that jacket. Has he, all those clothes we'll talk about maybe the first movie. Did he keep any of them, like the sweaters and stuff? I mean, are they in storage somewhere? I mean, that would be such a cool thing to look at.
He had them for 40 years. He had them all in storage in a warehouse. He had the Rambo poncho, the brown poncho he finds, the canvas poncho. He had the knives, the guns, the championship belt. He had everything in storage. The tiger jacket, the ball that he bounced in the Rocky movies. He had it all. And he sold it in 2015 at Heritage Auctions. And the only thing I think he kept the championship belt that he holds up over his head in Rocky 2. And then I know I believe he still has the original Dora that's in pretty rough shape, but he still has that in his house. Everything else is sold.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know the details on that he sold all that stuff. But
how about this? One quick last story before I go. He told me a story how I had asked him about the sweatpants and the Italian Stallion sweatshirt, whatever happened to it. I didn't see it at auction, right? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, I think it was either got lost or stolen. I go, really? What happened? He goes, well, I was moving from one home to another and I had it. He goes, I put it in the box. I packed it up. He goes, when I got to the new house, it was gone. So he didn't want to say anybody stole it, but he's like, I don't know. How did all the other boxes get here? But the Rocky sweatpants and the sweatshirt didn't make it. So somebody took it. That's my presumption on it. Somebody took it.
Wow.
Crazy.
But Mike, I just want to thank you again for doing this with us. I could talk to you probably for like hours on end about this stuff. It never gets old. It just makes for great talk. And I appreciate you giving us the time and doing, we'd love to do
I got 100 more stories.
Yeah.
Listen, anytime. Let me know. There's 100 stories I can tell you guys that we put it to you this way. What we talked about now, it's like the part of the iceberg that hit the Titanic, right? It's just like the top. Okay. But I got so many stories to tell you guys. So let me know.
Awesome.
I'll come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we'd love to have you back, Mike, like Paul saying, of course.
Yeah. You guys are great. I really enjoy it. And thanks again, guys, for having me back on. I love talking to you guys. It's a lot of fun.
We're gonna put your Instagram up and to promote your tour, the Yo Philly Rocky Film Tour, just so everybody
Thank you.
A look at it again.
Thank you.
When this video goes up, I'll send you a link to it, and definitely look forward to it again. We will do the tour one of these days.
Absolutely.
I can promise you that. And keep up the great Instagram post. Been great, getting to know you the past year. So just look forward to talking again.
Thanks, guys. Stay healthy, stay happy, and just love your families, man. Love them while you got them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike.
Too. Thanks, Mike.
You got it. and keep punching, like Sly always says.
Mike, thank you.
One of my favorite things.
Be well.
You got it.
Paul, thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys. Have a good night. Hope everyone enjoyed the interview.